everyone, it's Jane Mamalmi. Welcome back to the last layout of my Wonderland Kill a Kit series. These are all of the photos I'm going to scrapbook today. There are a lot here, but you'll see in a moment how I am going to accomplish that. I've pulled out the papers that I have left that have like this sage in them and some purple. Even though I've got a lot of pink and some bright green, I'm going to tone that down and it's going to work lovely with these photos. So let's see how I accomplish that. And this is what I have left over. I have just a few strips. I've got this piece, which is this busy pattern on the back. So this is what I'm going to have left. So in my next Kill a Kit series, I'm going to show you the cards that I made, killing the rest of this, as well as a share of all of the layouts I've made so far. So that will be next week. And so for today, I've pulled out these scraps and I have some ideas, so we'll see if they work. These are part of the die cuts from that kit. No, actually just this one is. These were pocket cards. So I've got the pocket card pack. It's got 3x4 and 4x6 pocket cards. And I've pulled out the ones already that I think might work with this layout with the colors I've chosen. And I've also got the felt shapes, which I've only used a couple of those. So I've got some of these that I can use, and then I've got some of the enamel dots left. So what I'm pretty sure I'm going to do is use flip flaps. I've got a 4x6 flip flap here and I've got a 3x4 flip flap, and I've used these many times before, but if you haven't seen how they work, then stay tuned till the end so you can see how they will fit 2 extra photos. So this is the photo I want on top. I think I want 2 photos over here, and these are going to go underneath. So this one actually flips underneath like this. And then on the flip flap, it's going to be able to lift up like that, and you're able to fit 3 photos in the real estate of just 1. So I'm going to attach all of that at the end of this video. And then over here, I've got these 3x4 photos, and I'm not sure if I'm going to put those all together in a flip flap and have them kind of like this, or I was thinking, I've got this pocket card, which, you know, we're slitting in these photos, so I was thinking this might be cute as a pocket card. So we can lift that up. I can journal on here, and then that gives me, I've got space for 2 3x4 photos, and I think that might work. So let's go ahead and start pulling things in and see how this comes together.
So I started off by bringing in some of these sage colored patterns, and I'm putting them on the ends as sort of bookends to anchor the photos. And then I had these wisteria colored zip strips as well. These photos don't have a lot of color. As I mentioned, there are some bright green and bright pink, but they're going to be stacked on top of each other in the flip flaps. So it's not a ton of color, so I'm able to bring in these more muted colors. I thought I might want to layer up some of those pocket cards under the photos, but we'll revisit that idea. For now, I want to butt up these patterns up against the side of the layouts and then use the zip strip as sort of a seam in between the transition. I thought about using this sticker, which is the same size as the zip strip, but it brought in that desert rose, which is a different color, more muted pink than I do have in the photo in my daughter's jacket. So I'm going to bring out the photos and that pocket card that are going to be in the flip flaps, and then I had this charcoal paper that was left over from one of my previous layouts that was from gutting my background page. So I cut that to size, and I'm going to have that be the mat around my photos. But then I decided I wanted to have a smaller white mat around each of my photos as well. This is typically what I do, and I thought maybe I wouldn't do that, but I decided I did want that for these photos. But I did have a larger mat. That charcoal is a little larger than I typically do for my mat because the flip flaps have the seam around the edge. They take up a little extra space. So I decided to flip-flop which photos go on which page so I could add my title above these 2 photos here. But I didn't want the bright green over the sage green. So I switched where the photos were going to go so that I spread out those greens a little bit since they didn't match exactly. So now, since I know pretty much where my papers and my photos are going to go, I'm going to start bringing in my embellishments. I had these swirls left over, which I really liked. I used them in my second layout, I think, in this series as well. And I don't want them as long as they are, so I'm just going to trim them down a little bit and have them be sort of like the base of my clusters. So I'm spreading them around in sort of a visual triangle across both pages, and I didn't want to waste any of those swirls, so some of them I'm going to trim even more so that I have more swirls showing in those clusters. So I'm going to get those just right, and then that purple and dark gray pattern I decided wouldn't work, so that will be saved for a card. And then I'm bringing in these pocket cards again, and I'm going to use these as sort of like just layering pieces. And since a lot of those pocket cards are hiding, I'm going to trim them down so I have just the edges showing. So we're going to maximize the use of these cards, and I'll do that with the other one as well. I decided just to go with these two patterns because they go with the colors of the rest of the layout best. That other pattern would have worked too. It would have brought in a little bit more purple, but I'm going to bring in more purple with the snowflake die cuts I bring in just a little bit. So we're going to add some more of these layers down here, and then we will trim this to size. I wanted to have that lavender easily visible on the side, so I trimmed that so that the lavender stripe would be showing over there on the left. And then I will trim this out a little bit too and add more layers in the top right corner. So again, I've got sort of a visual triangle going. I've got 3 points in the layout where these patterns are going to be showing. And then as I was working on that top right cluster, I thought, you know, it would be kind of cool to have an interesting shape up here. So I pulled out this bracket die cut, and I'm going to use that to cut 2 of the patterns, and I'm going to run them through my die cut machine at the same time, just layered right over that same die, because I only need half of it. So each one was cut with one side of the die. I'm going to mess around with this one, the placement of where this is going to be just a little bit, because I thought I wanted it over on the left, but it didn't pop a whole lot off of that sage, but I'm going to end up putting it there anyway, and I'm making sure that it's sticking out enough so that that light blue is showing, because that does help it pop just a little bit more. Then I had all of these very dainty wisteria snowflakes left over from the kit, and then the silver foil snowflakes and the vellum snowflakes are ones that I cut when I first did this kit. I cut a whole bunch of snowflakes with dies ahead of time, and so these are the ones that I have left over. So I've now used all of the snowflakes that I cut, as well as all of the lavender snowflakes from the kit. So I have just a few more snowflakes left that I'll use on my cards that are more, I think they're blue and white. So I'm just going to move around all of these die cuts till I have the layers that I like, making sure that there is that all of the color is balanced in each of the clusters, and that I like the movement around the page so that everything is balanced across the page. And then I have this title, which it was cut on my Cricut. It's the same font that I used in my last Cricut layout, which is called Cowboys and Aliens. I know it's a funny name, but I used that, which I believe I downloaded from defont.com, and then I sized it appropriately in Cricut Design Space, and that's the only Cricut cut that I have on this page. I wanted those white swirls to pop a little bit more off the page without adding any inking around the edges of them or underneath them, and so I thought that this charcoal shimmer brush might give just enough color behind these die cuts so that they pop just a little bit more off the page. And I like how that looked. I didn't add a ton of splatter, just a little bit, And then I pulled in all of the stickers that I thought might work from what I have left over from the sticker sheet. And I thought that these little mittens looked cute. And then I had a couple of these words that looked cute, and they work as little subtitles for the page. I played around with where this lavender one was going to go for a little bit and decided I liked it up in the top right. So I'm just going to move that mitten. I don't tack these down very much when I'm just messing around with the placement until I know that I'm ready to commit. Sometimes I use my anti-static powder bag to take the stick off completely, but in this case I just tacked it down just ever so slightly so that it wouldn't stick and I could still move it around. I didn't think I needed to take the stick off completely. Then I added some of the enamel dots from the kit as well. I'm going to have some of these left over, and I also added some of the silver glitter gems, and so we'll take a closer look at these here. So now my layout is complete, but I still need to add the flip flaps. So we'll move on to that next. But first, if you're enjoying this video, I'd love if you hit the like button so that YouTube knows to show this video to more people. And also be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss more scrapbooking videos in the future. So for this first 3x4 flip flap, I actually decided to use a side flipping flap. So it's going to open up to the side so I don't have to have either of my inserts upside down like I do if they flip up. So I'm just going to put them in, and then I'm going to peel off this little strip here. Make sure that it's folded back so the sticky side is then on the back, and I'm going to adhere it straight over the photo. I'm going to line it up with the photo that's underneath it. It's going to be just a tad bit bigger because you've got the seam on the flip flap, but now you've got that cute little flip flap there. I realized that this little sticker is being covered, so I still hadn't pushed that down real hard, so I was able to peel that up, and I'm going to just stick it right on top of my flip flap there so it's not hidden. Some of the snowflakes are hidden partially behind the flip flaps, but I made them stick out just a little bit so that you still do see them. So on the 4x6 photos, I did trim them down just a little bit, and then the white margin, the white piece behind it is a 4x6. So I did the same for the flip flaps so that they would be the same size as the photos underneath. And then since this one is flipping up, you do need to make sure that you put one of your photos upside down so that when it flips up, it's right side up. So again, I'm folding back that flap, making sure the sticky is on the back. Once it's folded back, I'll stick my photos inside, peel off that little tape piece, and stick it down over my photo. I like to stick my flip flaps on top of the page protector. Some people stick them directly to the layout and then cut a slit in the page protector and stick them through. It's totally up to you, but this is just how I prefer doing it. I'm going to leave you with some still shots so you can see some of the detail. If you're interested in this kit, I have all the supplies I used linked in the description below. I had so much fun with this kit, and I'm super glad I got so many snow and other photos scrapbooked, but now I'm ready to move on to some brighter colors. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you found some inspiration in this video and the Kill a Kit series. I've linked the playlist for all the videos in case you missed any, as well as another video I think you might enjoy. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I post a new video every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.